This is Can We Just Talk, the podcast and YouTube series where it doesn't matter if you're living under a rock. We'll fill you in on the past week's biggest, weirdest, and most impactful stories, headlines, and developments in a nice casual conversation. Set your volume and settle in, because coming to you from a random basement in New Jersey, this is Can We Just Talk. Episode 23, a bit of a different setting here. We have moved upstairs from the basement because of some technical issues, as always, guaranteed whenever we do a live stream from Half a Rack of Ribs' house. So it's guaranteed. We're upstairs. We got some new friendly faces. Chris Sakonis out week number 2 in a row.
Thank God.
He should be back next week. We'll see. We'll see if he finally ever makes it back to us. But in place of them, we have Lucas joining us.
Yeah.
As well as Stephen Rudden, one of the main hosts from Deep Fried Medicine, stepping in for us this week. So we appreciate both of you guys filling in.
Who's out today?
Yeah,
And then Chris Sakonis, our regular. And then everyone else, obviously, Austin D. Savino, Jacob Berg, Richie Welbrock, and myself, Troy D. Savino, the continuous hosts that are here pretty much every week. Jacob has missed 1 week ever. Myself been here every week. Austin and Richie almost every week as well. So
Never missed.
That just sounds like you're rubbing it in.
well, exciting to be back. We are happy to be back.
Wow.
We have a full agenda to get to. As always, Jacob, I'm going to kick it to you. What's the first story you have for us on Can We Just Talk?
All right, let's get it started up in here. So, story I got this week, Trump clashing with the Republican National Committee when it comes to fundraising. So when you think about PACs, political action campaigns, I think they're called. I think that's what it stands for. Anyways, basically, they collect money and they use it for political purposes. And now Republicans, they have a traditional way that they do this. They, go through certain couple charities, but mostly they like to maintain control over it. And the big story out of this week was Trump was kind of beefing with that. He said that he wanted his followers to donate to his PAC, his political campaign, basically just saying, I want to be able to control where my donations go. And then the RNC, he also asked the RNC and their different fundraisers to stop using his name. And that's kind of where the tension is here, because the RNC was like, no, we're going to keep using your name for our fundraising, and there's nothing you can do about it. So obviously there is a little bit of tension there. And I know we've touched on it before, thinking about, the next presidential election, where we think Trump's going to go, if he's going to be the Republican nominee, if he's going to try to spin off into his own party. Obviously, this isn't conclusive evidence of anything, but just an interesting development.
So it's what you're telling me is his ties are becoming more strained with the Republican Party. He's pretty much saying, stop using my name so much. It's his name. Maybe he wants to make a little bit more of a independent case for himself. Stephen, I see your hand coming up. I'd love to get your thoughts on this.
And that's actually my question, though. It's simply because his charity or his campaigning is not getting money. It's being taken, and the money's being taken out of that and given to the RNC and these PACs. That's why it's not that he's trying to distance himself from the Republican Party. It's just the fact that he's not getting as much money as he could.
Well, I think it's the control thing, because if it goes through the Republican campaigns, then he's got to work with them to figure out how he wants to spend it, and they have some sort of control over how he can do it. But if he goes to his own one, he can use it however he chooses.
I mean, I think we're all expecting to see him make some type of push in 2024, right? On the next campaign trail. So I wonder, here's a question for you. Who needs who more for a chance to win the next election? Does the Republican Party need Trump more, or does Trump need the Republican Party? Because I'd argue the Republican Party needs him more at this point.
If Trump goes independent or runs something else, it's going to split the Republican vote. But I think the RNC needs to hold on to his name, because either they're going to need his name to boost as their nominee, or they're going to need his name as a scare tactic to boost whatever nominee they have. So they want to be able to say, like, oh, vote Trump, or they want to say, hey, like, because as soon as the Republican Party has an opportunity to turn on him, not an opportunity, but is forced to turn on him, they will turn on him with a vengeance. And all these guys are going to about face and they're going to heel turn, and then they're going to need his name to like be like, you don't want Trump, we hate Trump, blah blah blah. Ted Cruz, even though you love Donald Trump and stuck your nose up his butt and he called your wife ugly, he's going to turn finally. It's crazy.
This would be an historic election or campaign trail, because the last time we've seen something like this happen would be all the way back in 1912.
Chris was there.
Chris is out.
I was gonna say, he didn't break his hip.
Yeah, he would have the
While
most.
he's out.
He would have the most insight. He's the old guy in the room. But the last time this happened would be 1912. President Taft was trying to get a second term. He was previously nominated by President, like one of the more popular presidents of all time, Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy wasn't so happy with Taft, decided to run against him in the Republican Party, I believe. And Woodrow Wilson, who wasn't really the favorite by any means, took the entire Democratic Party vote and won simply because there was a huge split in the Republican Party between Taft and Wilson and Teddy. So this could be historic. This is something we've not really seen in a very long time. It takes a special person to run independently-ish or against their natural party, but still gain so much voting power that you could have a chance to really overthrow an entire party. So this would be really massive, and this is kind of maybe the beginning of the end for Trump with the Republican Party.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, that would be a totally interesting thing to see if Trump tries to make his own party. I'll give you kind of a comparison here, and I think maybe it's not the craziest thing we've ever seen. Just in my mind, I'm thinking if Trump still tries to get the Republican nomination, I don't know if it would be that crazy, just because I'm thinking back to Bernie Sanders over this past year trying to get the Democratic nomination. He has some strong followers. I think I'd argue that Trump may have more followers in the Republican Party than Bernie had in the Democratic Party, but it's always interesting, I think, to see kind of the spectrum, right? Because it's not just right or left. It's not just Democratic or Republican. There's people along both sides, and it's always interesting for me to see where the party stands and what kind of nomination that they're looking for, because obviously they're trying to win, I think, more than anything else.
You imagine and you think about what has happened over the past year. Keep in mind, Trump had over 70 million people vote for him in the previous election. Now, it's crazy. It's not, people who are voting for Trump typically aren't the most loose with believing that they want to vote for Trump. He has a very local following.
Don't generalize things, Bobby.
He has a very supportive base.
Don't put people in boxes here now.
I mean, he does. He has a very supportive and vocal base. Maybe not all 70 million of them, but I'm guessing a very large percentage of those.
You don't know.
That's much more than what Bernie Sanders had. Keep in mind, trust me.
What are they called? Bernie Bros?
Feel the burners. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're Bernie Bros. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think they're Bernie
Donnie
Bros.
Boys.
I thought it was Bernie Boys.
It's Trumpeters.
Well, they're getting old
Trumpets. But they don't go by. They don't like
No.
trumpets. They don't like to be called trumpets.
They call
That's
themselves.
the meaning. We don't like that. We don't spread hate, Troy.
The Trump people call themselves true Americans. That's what they call themselves.
All right, then that's what they will be known as.
Patriots.
just for the sake
Patriots,
of,
defenders of
Patriots.
freedom.
I
I
will.
said this before. You see someone wearing American flag apparel.
I will. I'm going to stick to the looser terms, and not generalize anything here. But you think they have a large following, right? You think that even, let's say, 50% of those 70 million. I mean, it's a complete guess of a number, but he still has a loyal following from the Republican Party.
He'll never win if he's independent, and he knows that.
No, but
He knows
I think if he runs against the Republican Party knows that they stand zero chance without him.
So you think he could create a third party?
Yeah, I do.
That'll
Absolutely.
split that vote.
I agree with Troy.
I think they could.
I
though.
think. I was just gonna say, I think if he does, I think if Trump makes a third party, he'll get the most we've seen in recent history here out of any third party candidate.
But I think the Republicans have a tough choice to make coming up.
Oh yeah, certainly. Troy, you did bring up. I wanted to say one other thing here. you said Patriots. It reminded me of this other part of the story here. So
Ooh,
at the
bonus.
end, they kind of explain or they give an example of some of the wording used in the fundraising campaigns, and I just think that's like downright crazy the way that they'll like try to drum up support, but it's crazy. So it's here we go. Here's a letter that people got in all caps. Congratulations. You have been selected as one of the first to be invited to claim your Trump Legacy membership. We need 10,000 patriots who still stand with President Trump before midnight tonight. Urgent Trump supporters needed. I just the wording, the way that they go about this is just mind-boggling to me. When you think about just like what kind of time limit are you on? We need 10,000 before midnight. What? Why? Why before midnight?
Dude, you had me at all caps.
Honestly,
that's it. That's all you need to analyze it. All caps was used. Nobody uses all caps. You don't do that.
It's the wording there is like they're already back on the campaign trail. Like they're already there.
It looks like spam now.
They
all
never
caps,
stop.
you get an email with all caps in it. Either if it's not from your boss, you're gonna throw it out.
Oh, but all of his tweets were like that too. That's just kind of his. That's like their brand. I get a lot of.
Right. I'm a yeller.
Somehow I got signed up for political emails, and a lot of those emails do come in
Somehow.
all caps. Yeah.
Somehow.
I don't know.
Somehow.
It's always the end of the world for politicians.
Somebody out there.
Steven,
Spamming.
I want to get your thoughts on what you think Trump possibly splitting from the Republican Party means for their well-being, for the near or the long-term future. What do you think this could possibly mean?
I think it's going to change the course of politics forever. I know that's a very grand answer, but I think it is just absolutely almost unbelievable the sense that one person can instill such ideologies in so great of a population that one of the two major political parties can be split, as it said multiple times. Because
That's a big rock in a river.
Stephen, has there been a recent historical example of someone doing that in a country that's been so divided that you can think of? Because I can.
Who? Well, you just said who?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Oh, God damn it. Oh, God damn it. Tom Brady. He's so handsome, and we just hate him.
He kisses his kids, though.
Who cares? You don't have kids. You can't say shit about Tom Brady. You don't got kids. You got no rings.
It's funny that this is like becoming a trend because we saw this happen in the UK with Boris as well. I mean, sometimes being Boris Johnson.
For the
right?
listeners who don't
Is
know
that what happened? Did Boris?
Well, he's a very bold personality.
Oh.
Like sometimes people are more, maybe not more people, but a very large chunk of people are drawn to that radical type behavior where it's attractive enough that you get a much larger draw compared to like a normal politician, I guess.
And is that because it exemplifies like the attitude of that nation? Like Trump, one argument for Trump was that it exemplified the attitude of America, just that bully take no shit and whatnot. And was that Boris Johnson? I don't know.
It could be. As someone who's not from the UK, I can't say for them for sure, but absolutely for Trump, I mean, that's definitely what we saw. So I'd have to imagine that maybe that was something that happened with Boris Johnson as well.
Yeah, common argument made. So, all right. No.
Go ahead. Yes.
All right, I want to say that even though I don't align or agree with everything that Donnie Boy has said or done or how he ran the country, even though I never run a country before, I'll say this. When I did see a Trump sign like outside a house, there was just energy behind it. I would just lay on the horn. And they would either they'd raise up a thumb, they'd wave. I don't know. It was just you gotta admit that there's an energy behind it.
They're passionate.
There's an energy behind it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
It's
it's
a manifestation of anger.
It's fueled by anger.
Yeah,
it's fueled by anger. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. You can look at it that way, but for me, I'm not angry.
Well, hold on. I want to ask the people of Deep Fried Medicine. This is a topic you guys talk about a lot. What is one type of emotion that fuels more than anything? It's anger and hatred. That is something that fuels more than anything.
Or love.
Or love.
Can you bond?
Not as much as but it's so much harder to invoke love than it does anger.
Can you say it again?
Me? It's so much harder to invoke love because love is towards yourself, where anger is outward and whatnot. So people can relate to that anger a lot more because if love, you got to get them to love you.
and you have to be able to love yourself too. So to be able to give out love, you need to understand it and want to. It's harder to love than it is to hate. So hatred and division and anger is the lowest common denominator, and that's all of Trump's rhetoric has been based off of it. You can put the blame on someone else, and that's what a lot of his rhetoric is. It's not about him unless it's falsified. So he's putting the blame on someone else and taking the claim for himself, and a lot of that is rooted in anger or division or hatred.
All right, let me say this. Hatred. I'm agreeing with Austin. Hatred does bond people together, because think of it this way. If you hear someone yell in public, "I love the Yankees," and if you're a Yankees fan, you can be like, "All right, cool, bro." But if you hear someone be like, "Yo, F the Red Sox," you're gonna be like, "Yeah, screw them." You know, you have, especially if you've been drinking a couple at the ball game, you're gonna join in.
It's anger is easier to tap into with less depth.
Why
right?
is that?
So like because it invokes these reactions. I think, I don't know, Stephen, like
an American thing.
Well, no, anger and hatred is like one of the more prime emotions. It's one of the most simple emotions of human behavior. And Stephen, you know this from a psychology standpoint.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's easier. I think it is so because it's easier to express anger and hatred than it is to express love. Love also signifies caring and whatnot. So it usually means effort to show that you have that love or caring. Where anger is just, it could be something that you say. You mean because when love,
So from like a political standpoint, you think of what Trump's done, and you know what he did politically. Is it genius? Because how much easier is it to get people to hate something or be angry about something than it is to convince people that you're great? It's a lot easier to do.
He's the best con artist in the world. That's
Genius.
just what it is. It's the best con artist in the world.
And he was so good at it. He
Genius,
convinced 70 million people.
You can get mad at me if you want. I'm in Phillipsburg. Come find me.
Go ahead,
All right.
Stephen.
I was gonna say it is genius, and I'm saying this name not in comparison at all, but you got to look at what Hitler did in Germany. Look at the followers that he inspired.
Hold on.
Wait.
Go ahead, Stephen.
It's over.
Yeah, look at the followers that he inspired. I'm not condoning anything here, but the way that he was able to, corral people to his cause.
Scary.
And again, it's terrifying. But genius.
Stephen, wouldn't you say the other really sad part of it is that he didn't create anger. He activated underlying anger and allowed the unification of that anger to be spoken. And he gave voice to that anger. And that's what the saddest thing is that, politics aside, if you look at Trump as a person, that shouldn't be what you want as a president, as how he interacts with other human beings and treats people with disrespect. And what he did was he unified the anger that people have. And it's sad to think that there are people where they're single cause voters. Their single cause is dislike of others or just anger.
Enemy of my enemy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to dive too much more into politics. We'll move away. Jacob, it's an interesting story. I appreciate you bringing it up because we're just into 2021. As soon as like an election's over, it feels like the next one is already starting. So we'll have to keep an eye on what is happening with the Republican Party and what is happening with Trump, whether he's going to start his own party or if he can somehow find a way to stay with the Republican Party. So great. Want to move away? Austin, do you want to fill us in on one of your stories from the week?
I was just going to wipe my nose. I was hoping you'd go to.
Well, how about this?
Let me go.
How about this?
Got it.
I'll go.
Bob Letts 22. I appreciate that. It is a good joke. What kind of dog is allowed on a campfire? A hot dog. So
Who's Bob Letts? What's up, Bobby?
Joke of the week.
Bob Letts
22.
That is
All
pretty
right, Austin,
funny.
go ahead.
So this is a pretty crazy story. A man in Michigan was recently exonerated of murder, and he has spent nearly 5 years in prison.
Nice.
And now he is suing the rental car company Hertz. And the reason is that he was wrongfully convicted of second-degree murder in 2016 and freed in 2020. So that's 5 years he spent. And the Hertz Corporation finally provided a receipt that showed that he was renting a car from the Lansing airports just minutes before the murder took place. But here's the thing. They reached out for these documents in 2018. So they have been asking Hertz for these documents for over 3 years at this point. So could you imagine sitting in prison knowing that there's a document somewhere that can prove that you didn't do it, and like how bad is that?
You ain't on Deborah.
Think about that Yelp review.
2016.
What was that?
2016.
2016.
That's a
They
fear
asked.
of mine. That's a fear.
They asked for it, or it was requested in 2015. Actually, it was requested in
What are you laughing
2015.
about?
Just funny. I don't
Like
know.
if I was
Funny
sitting.
how?
If I was sitting in jail knowing that there was proof and it's up to a company to provide it, like that's like I would kill someone in jail. Like I would end up in jail for the rest of my life because of being that angry. Like that's insane. Like, is there any other place that would have worse customer service than that besides Cracker Barrel?
Well,
Whoa!
Before we- hey, hold on, hold on.
That's pretty
I
anti-American,
feel like
Cracker
bro.
Barrel's got
I
great
feel-
No,
customer service.
shush
got-
us.
we got-
Don't shush us after
You can have the
attack.
initial. You
What
can
did
have
Cracker
the
Barrel
Lucas.
do?
You can have the initial outburst, but outburst can be like 2 seconds, and then you
All
gotta
right.
hit.
What did
someone.
I
Cracker
want
Barrel
to.
do?
I want to.
Yeah,
Hold on.
That was you. That was you, bro.
So
Why'd you do that?
I can't even mute him because we're all using the same mic. So I want to pose this question because Richie, I apologize. I know you have a lot of feelings about the political scene in America. We didn't get to talk to you too much in the last segment. I want to ask you initially. I know you have strong feelings about rental car companies. I know you have strong brand loyalty. Hertz or Enterprise? Because I know we've had this conversation a lot, and you have a lot of anger towards one of these two. So why don't you tell the audience about which one you
What
prefer?
the hell is going on?
I feel like in my personal experience, and just from what I've read online, Hertz is subpar. I mean, Hertz, it's the kind of place that's gonna keep you in prison for that long. I mean,
Enterprise would never.
Enterprise would never do that. I mean, Enterprise, you go in there, they're gonna give you a glass of water and a mint when you leave. I mean, it's just a family kind of feeling, you know, almost like a ma and pa kind of rental car, and it's. I'm going there every time. You got to sponsor us, Enterprise.
Enterprise, we keep you out of jail.
Oh, really? Was there a guy who got like out of jail because of Enterprise? Or
Well,
they
Enterprise never kept someone in jail.
they've
they
been
could
running
just-
a tight ship.
They
so
could just say we
right.
would provide this.
Never. Okay.
Jacob, your thoughts on this?
I looked at the article here. I wanted to see their alibi, how they try to justify this. They said Hertz said we're unable to find the record when it was requested in 2015. We kept looking, and then somehow, some way, their data searching abilities advanced, and then in 2018 they were able to locate it. As someone who has some experience working with
Oh no.
databases, data systems, things like that, it doesn't surprise me. I think that if you looked at some of the data structures that America's biggest companies have, you'd be appalled. It's such an important topic in business today, and many companies are restructuring their databases to try to do things better and do things quicker. I'm not surprised that they were
I got a
unable
question.
to find a simple receipt.
Jake, I got a question for you, bud. I want to know your personal opinion here. Should we be angry with this company for putting some guy in jail, or should we be happy that they never gave up and they kept looking?
I think
And
they
they
were
got him out of jail.
Well,
Yeah, it
it
took
was
a little
probably.
bit, but they got him out of jail.
It sounds like it was a legal
like
subpoena.
court mandated.
Whether it was voluntary or not, they did it. They checked the box off.
We get
You
the
know
job
what?
done.
We're not mad anymore. You figured it out.
Wait,
You learned from your mistake. Moving on.
Hertz's new slogan: "We'll get there eventually."
We'll get you there from A to B. It might
Eventually.
take a while.
Eventually, you'll
Hey,
get.
I mean, I think you got to do a little bit of both.
Save your money
The slogan is "Let Hertz put you in the driver's seat, but not the driver's seat of life, because we'll put you behind bars for several years before you can get back."
slogan.
Well, I bet the guy's never going to use them again. He'll probably go.
Yo, what if he does though?
He'll
I
probably.
bet that guy's gonna keep all of his receipts from
I
now
would
on.
definitely go to Hertz now. I'd be like a gold member.
You wonder, because I mean, how do you pay? You pay for a rental car with a credit card,
They should
probably,
give him
right?
a car.
Don't you have to?
That's true.
How does he not have the report himself? Why
Did-
can he not go to the bank?
Did no one
Well,
think
that
of,
might not be time sensitive. It was more of a
Sensitive.
time thing, right? They were trying to
Oh.
say like, what time was he actually there swiping his card or picking up the car? So I mean, it's tough. They asked like 4 years later. Most companies probably wouldn't keep a receipt for that
It's
long.
it's kind of scary because, like, think about that. Had he not, for some reason, needed a rental car, or maybe like he didn't have to check it out that day or check it in that day, like, you could get framed for something like
the
this.
system's very broken.
It's terrifying because, like,
very broken.
imagine that document was never, like, they were never able to get a hold of it, and that guy's stuck in prison for
That's why you
a
keep
life
your
sentence.
receipts. You keep your receipts.
Also, there's a documentary on Netflix or HBO about some guy that was in the background shot at a Dodgers game on like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that
Deleted scene from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, got him out of prison.
Deleted scene.
Deleted scene.
Not in the show, in a deleted scene, and his lawyer recognized him and got him out of jail.
Now you should just have a smartphone where it just tracks where you are all the time. Like Snapchat tracks you all the time. So you should just be like, yo, I was in so-and-so. I was in Florida. I wasn't up here killing people with a knife. Like, get out of here.
It's scary because apparently, according to the article, his friend just turned him in, like ratted him out to the cops, even despite him not having any involvement. And Troy, it goes back to what you said. Like, what if he didn't need to rent a car at that exact time? He's got life for 20 years, however much it was.
Why did that friend report him?
That friend should be sued. Like,
I was going to say, it's just a paragraph that says this friend said that this guy was involved and then got picked up. So thank heavens that he had to rent a car at that time.
It's lucky that was the case.
You know what? Yeah, go out, spend your money, be a consumer, get your receipt, and put it in a folder.
Get that GDP
every day.
up.
Go buy a donut or something. Now find out when people get murdered the most at that time, and just go get a cup of coffee every day at that time.
Daylight savings time, spring ahead. So Saturday, tomorrow.
Fun fact.
It's terrifying. It is terrifying, though.
Daylight savings time?
It's scary. No, I'm talking about something like this, how it's such a small thing that you may not think about, but capable of keeping you out of a life sentence in jail.
And imagine how black and brown people feel in this country, knowing that wrongful conviction and police violence can happen more likely to them.
You don't have to remind them how they feel. They know how they feel.
I'm saying imagine.
Scary. Good point, though, Bolt. Appreciate you bringing that up. Richie's haircut.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Did Bolt just type something that wasn't free money?
Free money, free ad, yeah.
So,
for the rest of the show.
All right, I want to.
Bolt, should I keep, like, one of them down like this? Or should I, like, keep it up? Like,
when I got the swoop.
Put it down. You look like the new member from One Direction.
Put it in the comments.
All right, cool. So, moving on here.
Oh, shit.
Really quick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Troy, really quick, but now apparently he is suing Hertz car company, and I don't know. I'm asking you guys: is there like legal ground for him there?
Money, yeah.
Probably not.
Wrongful imprisonment or something, or it's not obstruction of justice.
He could definitely sue his friend for defamation, who didn't have any point of actually blaming him for prison.
You think he's gonna write a book?
We lost Steven. He'll join back in a second, but
he was very angry.
I think, there's definitely someone you can sue there. I mean, look, think about it. You can sue McDonald's because the coffee was a little too hot.
That's a mindset. There's definitely someone we can sue.
The coffee case was that was insanely hot. It was way harder than it needed to be. And they actually uncovered some things about McDonald's. They were keeping their coffee at like 200 degrees, 185 degrees, which is way hotter than it needs to be, so that the customer would get the coffee and it would take them longer to drink it, which would make them less likely to get a refill, which was free. So there was like a lot of, and she had to get a skin graft on her like privates. And so that actually was a justifiable case. I found the judge.
We'll see, though. Defamation involved, there's always to be made, I think. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure he can have some stance to take on this, but it's a good question.
I'd say when it comes to Hertz, I feel like they might investigate. They might look to see if Hertz like actually tested all of their things. Like, because what I would say is, like, from a legal standpoint, if Hertz like did all they could do at that time, I think it's not reasonable to expect Hertz to make some changes to their database just to try to find this guy's receipt. But it is reasonable to expect them to try everything they could do at the time. So if they're like, oh, we checked this area, but we actually could have went back and looked at the other spot, and we just chose not to, then maybe he might have a case.
And they would have to digitally record themselves looking in all these different places. So I understand that entirely.
But I'm
all right,
sure
we're
that
gonna-
9
just
years
don't.
ago
We're-
it's going to be
We
tough.
can't.
We
We
just
can't.
don't.
We're a podcast. We can't. All right, we're gonna move on.
What do you mean?
We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about something here.
What was I going to
Is
say?
hold on. Let me just continue on with our next story here. We have a very interesting story about an NFT. Are you guys familiar with what NFTs are? Because they've been making huge headlines this week.
No.
Were you? Do you want to give like what a definition of an
Is this
NFT
going to be some
is?
boring financial
No,
stuff?
no. Well,
I
no,
want to know
it's
what
not.
you think I was going to say.
It's
We're not
NF
engaging with the chat.
Why would you not engage with the
Because
chat?
we're a
Why not?
podcast. Because no one can see.
No,
No.
stop, Lucas.
Podcast, no one can see.
Don't
Jacob,
care.
do you
They gotta
wanna-
know the chat is recognized?
What is it? Non-fungible. What is it, Jacob?
non-fungible token. It's,
Yes.
it's basically the equivalent of like a stamp of authenticity on something. So yeah, basically, like if you buy like a signed jersey from NFL.com, it doesn't just come to you. It comes with a little slip of paper that says, "Oh, this is a signed jersey that was signed on this date." And the NFL, like, we certify that Larry Fitzgerald actually signed this. Basically,
So,
that
yeah.
does the same thing for a virtual item.
But now, some of the interesting things we're seeing, people are selling digital content with NFTs, and that's doing is people can buy like video clips now of LeBron highlights for a lot of money, almost like you would do for like a baseball or a basketball card, which is just strange to think about. And you're asking yourself, if you could buy a photo of LeBron, why not just download the photo? But as Jacob was saying, like NFT is like providing like authenticity that is like the one photo or one of 500 or something like that. It's like baseball cards. Why are they valuable? They're only valuable because there's a short supply of them. People want to have ownership in one of those, but that's just what it is. But the huge headline of the week is an NFT set a record for how much it was bought for. This is a relatively new thing that is happening, but an artist sold an NFT of his art collection for $70 million for something that can just be downloaded. Like, this is, you have to wonder, is this like the new thing? Is this what is going to explode and people are going to start investing in? Like we've seen with, I know people are going on like Robinhood now, way more accessible for people investing on that type of way. Now we're seeing a huge comeback in playing cards and Pokemon cards for some reason out of the blue. This might be the next trend. So if you're maybe trying to make a quick buck, there's something you can invest in. I don't know.
Kings of Leon is releasing their new album as an NFT, so you can only get it with this token.
Well, I think Pokemon's coming back because a lot of pop culture things like rap figures are really collecting.
It's people in pop culture are collecting these cards and buying them and doing like unpacking.
And they're showing it on social media.
Yeah, and people are like, I want to do this too. I want to sell cards. So myself and Richie, we were going to Target probably a couple months ago at this point, and this was like right when Pokemon cards were starting to get really popular. Kind of like Logan Paul was doing. It was Logan or Jake. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They were unpacking and looking for shiny Charizard or whatever it was, but. This is right when the craze of Pokemon cards is coming back. Now, Target has limits. You can only buy like 2 packs at a time.
Really? Wait, really?
Yeah, it's crazy that these things are coming back.
Target's in on it because
it's
that's
nuts.
controlling the
Well, no, because we would go and we would see people lining up at like 8 p.m. on a Monday because that's when they would restock the shelves for Pokemon cards, and they would literally buy all of them just to resell them on Amazon or something. So it's crazy that these things are making it back, and now are NFTs the next thing to do so? People are investing in something you download, like
all right. Say what NFT is again for people that forgot already.
A non-fungible token. So it's like authenticity on almost on like a piece. So it can either be like a video clip or a music audio file.
Watch it over and over and over and over again?
Yeah, but you do that with a normal video. It's supposed to be like an original.
Yeah, you're charging people for it.
No, so you're not charging per watch. What it is, you buy this property.
Yeah.
Let's just use an example.
And it's like
a 2-minute music video.
Sure.
Someone could do an NFT on this, maybe the artist. And what this says is we're only gonna put 500 of these out here. You can buy one of these and be one of 500 who has an NFT for this music video.
But what stops them from just filming that and just spreading that?
Because that doesn't have the NFT. It doesn't have the NFT attached, so it's not authentic.
Oh, who gives a crap?
Apparently, people do. That was crazy.
All right. Well,
There's
that would
no.
never affect me.
It's
I'm just gonna watch the
it's
music video.
complete arbitrary value that is being assigned to this, and it's crazy because we just saw
Well,
$70
it's
million worth of value get bought. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Wow.
It's
There's
status.
two more documents
It's
that
status. There's
start
nothing.
to tell. I have
There's no
something
use
to
out
go.
of this.
Steven, your thoughts on this?
It's
And
a
then Jacob?
status thing. It's only like what's the point? It's a digital, and you download it, and it's just authenticity. I get it, but it's literally just to people to show off status.
But that's
In my
Well,
opinion.
no, I mean, it's not just that. It's not like a music video. I mean, the way I've been seeing them is like it's like a still shot kind of graphic that you could use as a background, or I mean, clearly, if you're
It's
that
a
kind of
flex.
person, you're gonna spend money and flex like
It's a
that. Like you
flex.
could get a
Yeah,
little.
that's what I
iPad
mean. It's a flex.
But listen,
But that's what. Yeah.
it's not like a music video where like everybody else is gonna go watch it and you can own it. It's like when you buy it, it's just yours. Like it is only yours. Like it's not everywhere
Except
in the
for the
world on the
500 other
internet.
people who bought it.
Hold on. Well,
That's the thing. Only one person can buy.
this one, that's why I went for so much because only the one person could buy it.
Only
That's
one person.
so yes, it is a flex, but there is possible value here. If there's a market for people wanting to buy this, just like we saw with baseball cards, like what value does a piece of cardboard have? None. The only value it has is what the market is paying for it. So if for some reason this becomes popular and someone wants ownership over this one specific video clip that has that NFT attached to it, or that one piece of art from a digital artist that has an NFT attached to it, value will be there. Maybe it's not just a flex. So Jacob, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would say you brought up some good points, and I think you talked about the investing behind it a little bit. I would see it basically just the same way that you see a piece of art. Like you could go out, you could buy an art, a piece of artwork that was drawn, that was made for that, or you could go out and buy a replica. And most of the time, people can't tell, right? Lucas probably would be able to tell if art was real or not. Me, you're naive, unknowing person. I can't tell. I can't tell if art is like real, if this was like copied from somewhere, or if this is a authentic piece. So I think
copy. That's really what
Yeah.
it comes down to.
anyways, so like I was saying, like it all has to do with authenticity, and it all has to do with do you invest in artwork? Are you looking to invest in something that is pretty subjectively judged across the board, and it's cool because you have the original? If that's something you like, then that's something you go for, but I don't see it as much of an investment strategy.
It's a necessity in the digital age. This is, while it's not perfect, and while we can think of like all the different reasons that this might not work or may not be good, think about it with the way that we're moving, where how media and art is living online. There needs to be a way to have this, and this is like this is not going to be the last iteration of this. This is going to evolve and change over time. So it's necessary in terms of the evolution of distribution of art, basically.
It's like the
I
next
think
trademark,
I think this
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it is.
this is so impactful for one, because it's so easy to buy and sell. That's why Robinhood got so popular all of a sudden, because people can literally just do it on their phone. They don't have to call a stockbroker. There's no barrier for this. Now this is like art trading on your phone. It's just a downloadable piece with a token to
Authenticity.
yeah, sure, whatever. I can't say the word right now. To authenticate, there it is.
There you go.
To-
My first one was trousers, but my mom thinks it was tweezers.
So, as Harry Brown's saying here, it's like baseball cards. No one wants the replica. They want the original. There's a reason people pay so much more for the original, even if the replica is the exact same type of piece of cardboard with the exact same print pattern on it. People want that original piece to say, I have the original. So now imagine people are paying this much for, maybe some artists that aren't as popular. Kings of Leon are putting out an album that's going to probably get some people to pay. But could you imagine if like Taylor Swift decided, let me put my album on this, and people could have ownership in my album if they buy an NFT for it? There's serious money there then. Like we're not seeing this mainstream yet.
You'll pay more than $10 for an album.
Yeah, but again, it's not because anyone can still listen to the album. Well, except for this new, I think the Kings of Leon one, you actually have to buy it like that. But
So no one's going
you're going to be able to pirate it from somewhere. That's not the thing. But you have almost a sense of ownership in this piece of art. And it's maybe this is what's missing from audio art, because right now how Spotify and Apple Music is paying out, you're getting cents on the tens of thousands of streams, so there's really not money to be made there.
No, there's not.
So maybe this is a way for artists to make a little more money.
I was gonna say, do
Jacob?
you think it's better for the artist or for the listener?
Probably the artist.
Artist.
For Joe.
Yeah.
That's good then.
But
That's
if
good.
someone wants to buy
They kinda
in,
got gypped.
if someone wants to buy in, you get a little more ownership in it. So there's a sense of ownership from the fan base, which
Artists
I'm
got
sure.
ripped off with the internet age and LimeWire and all that stuff, so maybe it's a good comeback that they deserve.
Yeah, well, I got ripped
You mean
off.
AIDS for your computer?
Yeah, I do.
Jacob, go ahead.
It was worth it.
I was just gonna agree with Lucas here. Like, I do think it is so much better for the artist, and I think it kind of creates some sort of segment here between pirating something and paying the artist for it. And if they can use these type of things, and now it has a stamp of authenticity, and that's cool, I want to have that. Maybe people will judge me if my music doesn't have the token that goes with it. They'll be like, oh wow, okay. So maybe this is a way of kind of fighting against piracy on the internet, fighting against kind of stealing things from artists without paying for them.
Right, let artists live as artists.
Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
this isn't gonna affect. I don't think it's gonna be like people are still gonna, if they just want to listen to the music, they're not gonna pay for an NFT to listen to the music. They're gonna do it. These are for the super fans who want to say, I have more to do with this.
For
This
now.
is my
It's gonna be like
favorite
buying
album.
vinyls.
For now.
Yes, this is my favorite album. I want to buy a part of this album.
Yeah,
For now.
I have felt that way about artists, where it's like I wish there was a way, like Bleachers. He's coming out with a new album. If there was a way to
Try
buy
to
it
get the vinyl.
and give the money to the artist for their art that I know I'm going to listen to over and over,
It goes
this is something
directly to them, you think?
I would consider. Yeah, because they're releasing it,
Yeah.
or it'd be similar to a CD release. It's a way that they can get paid because these streaming services
it's cool
are.
'cause it's like the beauty of the internet is allowing them to be reaching so many people, but then they
Yep.
actually get paid for
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's
And
just up to us whether we want to do it or not.
This will never be the norm, the way a CD or a cassette or a vinyl will be ever. But this is the future, I think, where there has to be a way to
Change is good.
authenticate.
Let's try it out.
Yeah, original, and
Future's now, old man.
it's going to be. How many times?
But again,
can I tell you
This one, the one we're talking about in this
Oh,
story,
man.
the collection sold for 70 million. So kind of crazy. It shows you like how early on we are, and something like this is happening. Like I said, just imagine when like a big artist gets involved with this, any form.
I think Kanye's going to do it.
It might.
I think Kanye is going to do it first.
We'll see. Maybe this is just.
He's got enough stands.
Oh,
Enough stands
absolutely.
to do it.
So that's what he did with this last album when he live streamed it, and the app worked really well, and like people joined it. So he has that following. He could definitely, Kanye, if you're listening, what up, bro? And second of all, do it. I think you could start a trend here.
So, Austin, you want to give us your final story of the night as we wrap
What?
up?
I don't have my story.
Oh, I thought you weren't doing a story.
I'm doing my story. I got
All
my
right,
story right here.
Lucas, I'm nervous. What
Did
is
you
your
send
story?
it to everyone?
Oh, dude, this story is great.
It's-
All right, so so this is basically what happened. This is down in Florida. Just paint the picture.
Florida
Okay.
man.
No, not Florida man. This guy in Daytona Beach. He's known as the Times Square Naked Cowboy, and people know him. He's known.
yeah.
He's been doing this since '98. And so what happened was he got arrested on a misdemeanor, charged for resisting arrest without violence, which I don't even know how you do that verbally, I guess, like don't arrest me. And cited for panhandling while working a gig at Bike Week in Daytona Beach. And this is what happened. He's basically a street performer who's been known all throughout New York. He's great. He's been doing it for years, since '98, I said, and he got arrested down in Daytona Beach. I don't know what he's doing down in Florida. Maybe it's too cold up here because he does play like in these silver undies, and the dude's ripped. Like he's good. He's a show.
Why do you
He knows
know
how
so
to
much
play.
about the Naked Cowboy?
Dude? Because Nate Cowboy is like a known guy. Like he's
I
awesome.
You don't?
I do.
Right.
I was.
And like he's been
Joke,
doing it. He's
Steven.
been doing it forever.
Wait,
And,
Austin, you don't know who the Naked Cowboy is?
He got arrested. And I think that's news. We should know about this.
Free Naked Cowboy. Except unless he did something bad, then maybe not.
I don't think he just was panhandling.
Well, you can't do that.
What is panhandling?
Panhandling is when you play or perform and you get money. You put your
Yeah.
case open,
you,
and
like,
you got
pretend to be
the
in
cup
line.
out, and like But he's basically cutting the whole system out.
So is
It's
this
changed.
the evidence we need to see that New York City is emptying out?
Well, it wasn't New York City. It was
I know he had to go down to Florida.
He's
maybe
not
there's
naked in the winter.
You
maybe
can't do it in the winter, Bobby.
He's naked.
You didn't even know this guy existed.
I knew he
Dude.
existed.
He might get
my
frostbite
God.
on his pee-pee.
Whoa.
I think the real story here is that Austin DiSavino has never heard of the Naked Cowboy.
I don't know who
Yeah,
that
that's so
person
weird.
is.
It's
Dude, the
crazy.
Cowboy's great.
Who is this
He's my
Austin DiSavino
background.
person?
Yeah, like this is a picture of him right here.
Nice.
Hey, why is that your
Dude
background?
is jacked.
That's
like,
not
let's just admit
naked.
it. He's jacked. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to arrest him. He's probably
he's-
oiled
I
up.
saw the picture. He even had an NFT on that.
Yeah. Gotta get
Yeah,
the
that was
NFT.
authentic, man. How much did you pay for that,
Yeah,
Lucas?
I've seen on that.
Count me in.
The dude's been doing it for years. So
Jacob, you
since older than Troy, he's been playing in New York City naked.
you like to walk around places naked. Your thoughts on this?
What?
I'd pay to see an NFT of that.
I would not. I'd pay to see no NFTs. If Jacob sent me those, I'd pay for him to stop.
Of all places to get arrested for panhandling, I think Florida doesn't really make sense at all.
Well, no, they
Like-
care about panhandling, not other things, but they care about panhandling.
Like what? There's laws in Florida?
There's laws
Who?
according to this
Along the
article.
coast. Along the coast, I think there are some.
Just about panhandling.
I thought this happened on.
Doesn't make any sense.
It would be great if it happened in
Yeah,
Bobby, can we just end
Tallahassee.
the
exactly.
That's pretty good.
podcast? That was not good.
I'm just happy to see Steven on a Friday night.
That was pretty good.
Last
yeah,
Friday.
Hold on. By the way, Jacob, it's a good point. We talk about Florida men all the time, but in most of those cases, those people are getting arrested. That's why we hear about them.
And they're on meth.
So if anything, this seems
Yeah, but
like
they're doing crazy shit. This guy was just doing something normal. He was just
I mean, he
playing
was-
some music.
he was still naked. Like it's
No,
not.
he wasn't naked.
let's not
He's
pretend-
not actually naked.
I know,
Troy,
but yeah, that's
Have you
underwear.
been to Florida? It's one big beach. Everybody's basically naked the whole time.
That's
And
true.
with the middle of Florida,
not
it's
true.
like in Jurassic Park 3, where
It's like
it's like the
church.
closer to the center of the island, it's worse.
Jacob,
you don't go
let's
far
just
from
not.
the coast.
let's
I'm
just-
moving to Florida.
Jacob, let's just not pretend that this is like a normal thing. This honestly, this fits in very well with Florida. In Florida, man.
That's what I'm saying. This is a normal thing in Florida.
I know, but
you
what I'm
walk around in Florida
for
and people
money,
are
that's
out
money.
there in bikinis and speedos, apparently,
Yeah, you
and
can't collect
it's a
money while
normal
you do
thing.
it. You can't
He's
collect
trying to
money while you
make
do it.
music, Troy. He's
He
an
should go
artist.
cashless. He should have gone cashless, and he never would have got caught. He should just have a sign on him that just has his Venmo, and people just Venmo him shit.
pretend for a second
You're
the
welcome.
Naked Cowboy didn't exist.
I'm gonna
beforehand.
message him right now.
Hold on. Pretend for a second the Naked Cowboy didn't exist. We didn't no idea that this guy was doing this in New York. If I just read you a title saying Florida man gets arrested for playing guitar in his underwear in Florida, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds exactly right. If anything, I think this fits perfectly. This
No,
is like
that's the outlier. That doesn't match any of the Florida man arrestings. Usually they're on meth biting someone's cheek off.
No,
This guy's just playing the
so-
guitar.
No,
naked.
we had
Sometimes
a
they do
Florida
stuff.
man
They do
story
stuff like
a
this.
couple
I don't
weeks
know.
ago
This guy's
about-
pretty mild. If he was a sauce and Taco Bell, he'd be mild. Like this is not a spicy story.
This wouldn't be
it's your story. You brought it up.
Well, it's injustice, is what it is. He's a professional guitar player who plays in his skin because he's a handsome man, and now he gets arrested for it. And
Can't
Florida just
panhandle.
trying to get tan.
Free the nipple.
No, he should just gone digital, man.
I hope you know
Just get a Venmo.
This
Get
week
a
on
Venmo
Instagram,
right now.
it's just going to be Richie saying free the nipple.
The nipple should be free.
Steven, your thoughts on this?
No bras.
Poor guy. How do they not know about the Naked Cowboy in Florida? Just let him live.
Right?
So do you think he's saying, do you know who I am to the cops who's put him in the back of the car?
Probably not. Probably not.
Perhaps. I don't know.
They probably got a picture with him later on. That's probably how he got.
They probably just wanted to meet him. They wanted everyone in the at the station to meet him.
Maybe.
I bet you anything there's a video out there of it going down.
TMZ may have picked it up.
Authentic, yeah. Authentic.
Yeah, see that I would pay an NFT for.
Yeah.
That'd be a great piece of video.
So
to
Troy's
have
a
ownership
fan
in.
of the show
To
Cop.
own.
So they got recently canceled.
I don't
We're
like
gonna
the
dive
show.
into that next week on why Troy.
What show?
I hate.
I don't want to get
I
into
love
cops.
watching
We've
that.
talked
I hate-
about cops too much. We're
I
not
hate
talking about
cops.
I
cops
love
anymore.
watching that show.
All right, moving on. Austin, what's the last story for the week?
Actually, weird enough, talking about how cops got canceled.
No, it's not.
Why is so sweaty?
Just kidding.
I was watching cops.
I am sweaty, actually.
Intense.
This one caught my eye because of the title. Cat trapped in tree for over a week. Rescued. Given spaghetti.
Was this in Florida?
Firefighters in Florida said it took
Oh.
more than an hour.
Was
and
this
3 separate
Garfield?
attempts to rescue a cat that was stranded in a high branch of a tree for over a week. Escambia County Fire Rescue said a crew responded Thursday evening to the call in Pensacola, where nearby business owners reported a cat had been stuck up a tree for over a week. This is according to UPI.com. First of all, why did this business take a week to call? The cat attempted to flee from firefighters, ending up even higher. Took 3 attempts before they were finally able to reach it with a ladder. The firefighters took it back to the station, and some guy named Paulie was like, "Yo, Paulie, give this guy some spaghetti."
Get this fucking cat some spaghetti. What do we got in the cabinet? Spaghetti.
Hey, we got spaghetti.
I wonder, did anyone adopt the cat? Is it okay? Like,
I think they put it back up in the tree after it ate
that's
spaghetti.
terrible.
They only took it down for the spaghetti.
Get back up there. You've had your spaghetti.
They didn't put it up though. They
Guys, you better
fucking
be
threw
careful.
it.
You don't want to mess with cats on the internet.
That's a crazy documentary, by the way. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if
is.
anyone's seen that.
Yeah,
Don't
it
fuck
is.
with cats on
Yeah. Whoa, wait.
the internet. We can say fuck.
Whoa, wait.
Come on, Austin.
Remember that one time?
Everything the firefighter knows. Everything the firefighter knows about cats, they learned from Garfield. They were just like, oh, dang it. We don't have any lasagna, but
good.
spaghetti's pretty close. We could just give them spaghetti.
That's like Italian, right?
Now.
Closing up the lasagna. It's a deconstructed
And
lasagna.
people named
Did you
John.
know Bill Murray signed up for that movie to do the voiceover by accident? He thought it was the Coen
I
brothers.
thought it was the Coen brothers.
Poor guy.
It's crazy, but I just can't imagine. Like, it's just fun. Like the optics of that. They're like, they bring it back to the station, and they're like, "Oh, it's probably hungry. Here's some spaghetti." But not only did they give him spaghetti, they were so happy about that the only reason we're knowing about it is because it was reported. So they told the reporter. So Paulie was like, "Yeah, we got the cat out of the tree. We brought it back to the station." And I was saying to Johnny, I was like, "This cat looks famished. What do we got in the fridge?" And he's like, "Well, that Garfield cat likes lasagna." He's like, "Let me whip up some spaghetti." And that is how me, Chief Paulie, rescued the cat.
I want to know how long the reporter sat in her car debating her entire life before she brought that story into her boss.
Honestly, like,
Or man, I don't know if there's a guy or girl or whatever.
You're telling me man gets arrested in his underwear for panhandling, and this story doesn't go hand in hand. This is like perfect. They partner perfect. They pair just like a nice steak and a red wine. It's absolutely phenomenal.
People get arrested for panhandling and don't usually make the news. It just so happens that this is a famous panhandler.
Yeah. Well, cat, spaghetti, perfect combo. I'm just honestly surprised. I thought if it was a stray cat, they would put it down and it would run away.
Stray?
Whoa.
Stray?
Stray
What are you
cat.
assuming here?
Stray cat.
Well, if it wasn't a stray cat, they would have returned to the owners. And they would have brought it back for spaghetti.
Or they were like, "We want to feel. Hey, yo,
Where are you taking my cat? We're taking him to get spaghetti.
Jimmy, I can't in good conscience bring this cat back to his owner without a full stomach. What do we got?"
I'm just wondering why
Hey,
Austin
yo,
doesn't think
Paulie.
anyone can't enjoy spaghetti without being Italian.
Well, his name was Paul.
I like
His name, he went by
spaghetti.
Paulie.
It's just I don't
He's
think he
probably
was
Italian.
Italian.
Yeah, he's probably Italian.
He's in Florida.
Paulie Walnuts.
Why would a Floridian have like a New York accent like that? I was just going for the optics. I'm going for the joke.
Going for the joke. It landed.
We're talking about hypotheticals.
Free the nipples.
Free the nips.
All right. Richie,
Is spaghetti with butter and salt okay, or is that
Only if
like
you're 9 or under.
It's noodles.
Then only if you're.
That is noodles.
You haven't
the
hit
spaghetti is the name of the fucking noodle?
Can we just take a moment? And
Salt?
this debate has been
no,
going
we're
on
not.
forever.
We're not.
Yes.
No, we're not
No,
engaging in this debate.
I'm not
What's the
engaging. I
debate?
just want to take
What's
a
the
moment. Can I
debate?
just finish a sentence?
What's the debate?
Steven just took a debate that we've been talking about forever and just
What is it?
used 2
Are
words
you
and
going to
ended
tell
it.
us?
Well, if you were listening, he said it's noodle. That's
What's
noodles.
the debate?
No debate. We're done. All right,
You never mentioned
Richie.
the debate. What is the debate?
Richie.
Spaghetti noodles?
Hold on. Everyone, shut up. It's time for local notes with Richie Welbrock. As I'm waiting for the video to load, and then we're gonna do it.
For local notes with Richie Welbrock.
What is the debate?
All right, local notes. Richie Welbrock. Richie, what do you got for us this week?
So this week, I stayed in beautiful weather out there. Got on my board, busting some 720 laser flips, grinding some rails, got my fat ollies up. You already know, downloaded Battlefield 4 again. If you have Battlefield 4, the player base is still out there. I found a 64-player rush lobby. It was great. Catch me on Carg Island, baby. Download Battlefield 4 again. Thank you so much, Troy.
All right,
Nice,
that was the
nice.
local news.
That was good.
with Richie Welbrock. I don't know if we learned anything from that story, but we got it out of the way.
Very local to Richie.
Yes, local as in personal to Richie. I want to thank everyone who's new this week coming on once again, joining.
If they're
Lucas,
still here, not bad.
What?
Time out.
Steven. Oh no, I wasn't talking about the people on the stream. Steven and Lucas, I appreciate you guys coming out, joining us on Can We Just Talk.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for taking the youngest child spot away from me.
Seems like there's some resentment there.
There is.
You'll get over it. You'll get over it. Can We Just Talk? Troy DiSavino, Austin DiSavino, Richie Welbrock, Jacob Berg, and then guests coming in this week, Lucas DiSavino, as well as Stephen Run. Chris Sakonis back next week, maybe. We'll see.
Free Chris.
We'll see how his hip heals.
Free Chris.
Sakonis.
Episode 23.
Suck on this.
Episode 23 in the books.
Whoa.
Stay tuned. More content coming out in the near future. More music, deep fried medicine in the meantime.
Oh, here we go. We're flying out.